Hello, beautiful. This is one of these entries where I've been sitting with something heavy. So I'm going to just name what I feel and what I've been seeing slowly, honestly, with you and with God. When I think about it, I didn't have a language for it then, but now I can see that I held an idealized view of adoption. I believed it was beautiful, redemptive, hopeful. Not because I was naive, but because that was the only perspective I was ever given. At the time, my story made sense. It fit the way love was described to me. It fit the way family was talked about. It fit the faith language I grew up around. And so I trusted it. Looking back now, I remember that my curiosity wasn't silent. It found its way into conversations, into hopes, into plans. I talked about wanting to adopt. I talked about fostering children. I talked about building family in all these ways that made space for adoption. It came up often, casually, hopefully, naturally, like it was already a part of who I was. And still, no one ever walked me toward the truth about my own story. There were moments, comments, even jokes. I remember my sister sarcastically asking if she was the one who was adopted, not just once, but many times. Little comments that now feel like echoes of doors never opened. So many doors, and none of them opened for me. And back then, I didn't know how to ask the right questions because I didn't know there was something I wasn't being told. You don't interrogate a story you believe is complete. You just live inside of it. And I'm not saying this to condemn my family. I love them deeply, and I know they loved me. But honestly, love doesn't erase the impact of silence. And silence, little do we know, shapes how we understand ourselves. It shapes what we assume is safe to ask, what we assume is ours to know, what we learn to accept without question. What honestly makes this harder to hold is that for a long time, adoption wasn't just an idea to me. It was a part of the future I imagined. I was told I might not be able to have children, and that broke my heart. I wanted to be a mother so badly. I grieved it quietly, except for me telling my mom. But I prayed through it. I sought God for it. I tried to make peace eventually with a future that looked different from what I'd hoped for. So I made space for another plan, adoption. I imagined adoption not as a consolation prize, but as something meaningful, purposeful, even beautiful. I even started paperwork. I had hoped and imagined adopting twins, a boy and a girl, baby infants. I believed in the story with my whole heart that I was doing something amazing, something beautiful. And then, before I could even send off the paperwork, God surprised me with my daughter, Panda, and three older children through marriage. And then, just years later, a few years later, my own truth came to light. And suddenly the story I had trusted felt different. And I'll be honest, I felt fake. My story felt fake and incomplete. And I still wrestle with the incompletion of my story. And there's a particular kind of grief that comes from realizing you built your hopes on a story and a system that never told you the whole truth. On top of that, the truth rearranged my faith in ways I'm still trying to understand. And sis, the grief is real. It wasn't loud at first, though. It was quiet, heavy, a little disorienting. It showed up as questions I didn't even know how to ask God yet, as memories replaying themselves through new meaning and with different vision, as moments where I realized, oh, this shaped me more than I knew. And what I'm learning with this now is believing something is beautiful doesn't mean I was seeing it clearly or as a whole picture. And being able to name it and say it out loud, it doesn't make me ungrateful. It just makes me honest. Honest about what was shared with me and honest about what wasn't. Honest about the tension between the two. There's a verse that keeps coming back to me lately from John chapter 16, verse 12. It says, I still have many things to say to you, but you cannot bear them now. And reading that, I believe that God didn't hide the truth from me. I believe He revealed it to me when I was ready to bear it and when I needed it. And there's a difference. I believe God was near when the truth came, even when it was heavy and when I felt like I couldn't bear it all. I see now that timing can be mercy because God doesn't rush us into what we're not ready to hold. And it also reminds me that awareness doesn't arrive all at once. It comes in layers. Some layers feel freeing. Some layers feel heavy. Some layers send you back to God with questions you never thought you'd ask. And I'm not saying this as if I've got it all figured out. Sis, I'm learning to trust God with each layer without rushing myself to land somewhere Instagram ready or script ready, and without losing the simplicity of the story and the God I still believe in. If you're realizing the story you were given is foggy and it no longer answers the questions you have, you're not doing anything wrong. And if you're not realizing it yet, you're not behind. Truth has a way of arriving when we're able to hold it. And God doesn't abandon us in the process. I'm still learning how to carry what I see now. Still learning how to sit with it. Still learning how to let God be present without demanding explanations. This, my sister, this is a part of the unraveling. Not falling apart, but coming into alignment. Being formed into God's care, sis. Okay, beautiful. I'll leave you with this. May you feel steady where you are, held in truth, and gently reminded that you don't have to rush your healing. Until next time, love you.